Alright, how's it going, guys? If you're new to the channel, my name is Kevin. Today, as usual, I'm working on my Mercedes SL 500. The thing is, things can be fixed today, I assume. The other day, I need to remember to plug that back in probably. But the other day, we were working on the vacuum system. And for some reason I decided to take this off camera and like tighten those two clamps really tight. But so I was like, oh, that's good. But this thing still leaks, and I want to say it has to be leaking from the manifold, or not. Yeah, where the throttle body and the manifold touch, because I have an old gasket in there and it has 4 bolts holding it on, and the bolts actually go into the manifold as well, and I didn't thread seal those bolts this time. So 100% it's either leaking from the gasket or out of the bolt holes, and not much, because I could hear this leak before that leak. So it's not that bad right there, but so that means that the motor's almost perfect. Today I'm also hopefully, excuse my hiccups, today hopefully also I'm going to be buying a vacuum pump. I'm gonna be going to the good old Harbor Freight, getting a vacuum pump. I think that's the only place you should go to buy a vacuum pump, I guess, unless you order one online. But so yeah, I'm just straightforward. I'm just gonna pop the thing off. I'm pretty good at it at this point. I should be able to do it within the hour. I'm gonna reseal the thing, just use some gasket maker. I should probably go buy some different gasket maker, but I mean, it's not like it's an exhaust. Like, I don't need high temp for the manifold. It really shouldn't be that hot, but I know it is hot because everything up here cracks. Surprisingly, I can't hear a leak from like these lines, which is interesting. If I take this thing off any more times, I'm gonna need to replace it because it's starting to want to deteriorate fully. So this will be interesting. Alright, so lawnmower dudes are still doing lawnmower things. This is dirty. I mean, the throttle body's clean because I cleaned it multiple times now. But that's the gasket that I like put on. It's like cork or something. And no wonder it doesn't seal at all. There's like, who knows what that is. But I'm just gonna try and like make this smooth. Like, I'm gonna get rid of these bumps right here, whatever these are. But so these are raised up right here for some reason. I don't know what they could be even. But for the most part, it feels smooth. I'm just gonna put gasket maker on top of that and get rid of these freaking bumps right here. Just see, one sec. All right, I'm not gonna overthink this. Thread locker for the bolts or screws or whatever they are. And then gasket maker for the thingamajig. I got the 2 bumps off. They're now smooth, so they shouldn't cause the thing not to work. The gasket's just like a self-made gasket. The gasket that was on before, I actually still want to say, oh yeah, I do have. I made a template out of this. This was on the car. This is the real gasket. So it's really not much anyways. It's like, I don't know what it is. So I just used some like gasket maker and made that gasket. And yeah, to keep the gasket on, supposedly you're just supposed to make the gasket, and then you're supposed to put a little bit of gasket maker underneath the gasket, and it holds the gasket in place because it's going to be moving a lot trying to put that throttle body down in there. But so it's already on there. And I mean, I went around the screws. I'm just putting gasket across the whole top, thin layer across the whole thing. All right, so gasket is on there, kind of spilt. Oh man, I spilled some everywhere. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so This thing is back in. The screws are thread sealed. That's why you can see thread sealant at the top right there. Hopefully that does some good. More than likely, there's, yeah, the gasket leaked down there. Am I worried about, oh man, it leaked a lot down there. I was gonna say, am I worried about that? No, but at the same time, I don't know. All right, so this is the valve block. I just JB welded over the whole friggin' ball end of it because I'm tired of it, and if I wanted a new one, I'd use this part number and buy a new $30 part. But so I'm gonna throw that in, and this thing, it's really tight, tighter than I've ever had it. It's all sealed up. I should be able to just throw this in and the car should be running better than it ever has in years. So yeah, time to pop this thing back in. All right, so the valve block is back in, MAF and throttle body's back on. This thing is routed a little better, same actually, but you know, better than just leaving it not routed at all. Something like that. I guess I'm gonna break out this vacuum leader and see if I can like just pop this line off right here. Oh, maybe wanna plug this thing back in actually too. All right, so everything's back together. I almost forgot one of the little ground wires. Cleared the codes, and the car should theoretically be running better than it ever has in literally years. I'm talking like 5+, 8 years maybe. Who knows how long it was sitting before I got it, but I know it had been sitting for 5 years. Could have been sitting longer actually. Now, unfortunately, I don't think all the vacuum leaks are fixed. You can hear that pump running back there. That's for the door locks though, and I think it actually could still be connected to the engine and stuff. They should really be separate though, because if the doors and everything are working bad and the engine's working bad as well, that's kind of dumb. One or the other should be working bad. I think this door pocket right here, if I had to guess, has a vacuum leak. Each one of these door pockets has a vacuum. This has a vacuum. It's kind of insane. If the seat had lumbar, that would be vacuum. I'm rambling. Might as well just start the thing. Here we go. Oof. Car probably doesn't know what's going on. The computer. I should have unplugged the battery. It should have been unplugged the whole time, but I didn't. So now the car's probably freaking out because it's running so different. It's running much different. I think it's learning. Probably like, what is going on? It's hard to say if it's running any different actually. I mean, I want to say it's running smoother, but it's still not completely smooth. I don't know if you can see it shaking a little bit. I guess the only thing to really do is take it for a drive and see if it actually runs any better. All right. Alright, so the car isn't actually running almost any better. Honestly, I can't tell much of a difference at all, to be completely honest. But I do think I'm on the right track. That was a big vacuum leak that I fixed, and I figure, I don't know. I can't pull a vacuum on the car right now. I mean, I bought a vacuum gauge. I can pull a vacuum on my finger, so now my finger has a vacuum. But the engine as a whole doesn't have a vacuum. It's almost fully, I don't know how you'd say it, vacuumed or sealed, but there's still something. And it seems everyone and their brother is mowing their lawn today, and there's just too much noise. The only way I can really find a vacuum leak is by hearing it, and yeah, right now I can't hear it. I think I'm going to go through all the lines over there and make sure each one of those has a vacuum, because like, I don't know, maybe one of those lines over there, I have no idea actually. Maybe I could identify one of those lines over there that has a vacuum leak and be able to then pinpoint where it is. I still also do think that like the door pockets and maybe another pocket or something has a vacuum leak. When you lock the car, the pockets and everything, they lock. That thing up there, all of it locks. That's why you can keep the top down and lock your car. So like no one steals, I don't know, your sunglasses or something. But yeah, I don't know, kind of bummed. I guess I knew when I pulled the vacuum on the car that if there wasn't a vacuum, that there is still a vacuum leak and the car isn't gonna run perfect until that's probably fixed. Yeah, I guess that's it.